It's tax season, and at LifeLock, we know you're tired of numbers. But here's a big one you need to hear. Billions. That's the amount of money in refunds the IRS has flagged for possible identity fraud. Now here's another big number. 100 million. That's how many data points LifeLock monitors every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it guaranteed. One last big number. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit lifelock.com/podcast for the threats you can't control. Terms apply.
Are you a lifelong fan of General Hospital?
Are you a new fan who wants to know more about the history of the show?
Do you enjoy talking about the show with others?
Do you find yourself yelling at the TV?
Is your self-care an hour a day in Port Charles?
If so, we invite you to join hosts
Amanda Kimmel
and Shannon Coach at the place where all the hidden conversations take place and secrets are revealed.
Meet us at Pier 54,
a General Hospital fan podcast. There we go. Hello.
Hi.
Welcome to the General Hospital recap for September 9th through 13th. I pulled you and pretty much didn't watch anything until yesterday and 3 episodes this morning. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah, it's been a weird week. So just to get started with the Port Charles pipeline, I guess kind of good news-ish is one of the killers of Johnny Wachter pled guilty. But he's getting less than 5 years. Like, that's ridiculous.
Oh my God. That's insane.
Like, that's just, I don't get it.
Oh, that's so frustrating.
So there's that. So that's kind of I don't even know what to say. And then we did have a Port Charles pipeline from Ashley with the subject, yelling from my car, it was My Fair Lady. So I am not the only nerd, which we all know this because obviously somebody wrote that and somebody wrote that very accurately. So OMG, I don't think I have yelled at a podcast in my car so loudly than I did listening to yours on Monday talking about the voice coach and then the crying laughing emoji. When they first brought up Lois's accent storyline, you mentioned My Fair Lady. I was going to be okay with it if they did indeed bring that into it, since not only am I a huge fan of Audrey Hepburn, but also adore musicals in general. Oh my gosh, Ashley, we just need to talk offline. The voice coach was a nod to Professor Higgins in My Fair Lady. He kept bringing up the movie. I was sure you would get the reference. That's how the movie opened, when he met the colonel in the streets, listening to the crowd's accents and starts pinpointing where they're from, like the voice coach did with Tracy.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I'm sorry this part is so after the fact, but I typed this all up and forgot to hit send button before being distracted by my son. We get that one too.
Yes.
So I would like to offer a differing opinion on the Morgan situation. So this was, that was probably about a month ago that Morgan was in then.
Yeah.
I don't believe it was a ghost appearance. The way Sonny talked about Morgan just being in his head and how he knew it was coming from his own mental state, they were clear to portray it as a hallucination, not a ghost apparition.
Oh, that's true.
An apparition.
True.
And then when Sonny was retelling the experience to Jason, his response wasn't about Morgan coming back to help you through a dark time. It was about how Morgan represents the part of Sonny who knew that he needed help. Yeah.
Yeah.
Every scene was worded on purpose to be able to have the option to bring the character back in the future should schedules and storylines align. And if it were a ghost appearance with Chrissy in the hospital, I feel like they would have taken the opportunity to have him in the background with her somewhere where all the heartbreak she's feeling right now. Just something to consider anyway. As always, thank you ladies for being such a highlight of my week.
Oh, thanks.
Well, thank you. I can't believe between the two of us, neither one of us thought about that, but I think that is probably way, way, way more accurate than.
Absolutely.
I like it. I do.
Yeah, that's perfect.
But that was it for that. And I don't really have anything else. This upcoming Thursday, we're going to continue Lucky Part 3. It's going to be a shorter one because basically at the end of 1996, kind of rolling into 97, he wasn't really around a lot until like the end of July. And stuff with Liz started in August, I think, is what the dates that I was reading were. So we kind of had a little hint about that this week. So I think we should just do Lucky and Liz, because I don't feel like he really had anything outside of her when they started, right?
No. Mm-mm.
I mean, we'll take a look, but I really, really don't think that, because Lucky and Liz, August 1997 is when it started. So, and you and I had already talked about a couple different things that I feel like this character is one of the more difficult ones for us to stay on tracks. Like this upcoming week is when Lulu's bone marrow transplant had to take place. And it was very difficult not to get off on that because it was such a significant Spencer event.
Right.
But I was able to do it.
Good job.
So, yeah, it was hard though. And then we just have Hulu headlines. On Monday, Lucky gets a big surprise. Anna and Diane square off. Kristina makes a confession. Alexis is in the hot seat. Jordan's detective skills kick in. I think a lot more than her detective skills kicked in. Was that day?
I think that was later in the week, like Thursday.
Oh, okay. Then never mind. I liked her this week. I was really glad to see that that's how Jordan came in.
Right.
You know, on Tuesday, Elizabeth and Jason exchange information. Harley seeks help from Brennan. Molly voices her suspicions. Anna is disappointed, and Michael pleads with Kristina. On Wednesday, Ava catches a break. Liz confides in Willow. Molly questions Rick's motives. Anna and Jordan seek answers, and Brennan briefs Carly. On Thursday, Jason accepts a new mission. Tracy calls an emergency meeting. Lois and Brooklyn have a heart-to-heart. Sasha has a surprise for Cody, and Jocelyn pays a visit to Michael. And on Friday, Anna makes a demand of Brennan. Sunny makes a promise. Lois and Tracy butt heads. Mac makes an arrest, and Chase calls in a suspect.
Yep.
So where do you want to start?
I don't know. You pick. I feel like I always pick.
We're going to stick with Lucky. We'll get started with him this week.
This is now all about Lucky's show.
Welcome to the Lucky Spencer Appreciation Podcast. It is really a bummer that I do not have the mental availability to go back and watch all the episodes.
Oh, yeah.
My mental focus is definitely not available for that right now. So we see Lucky and, so I was getting confused by the guys because Holly kept calling him Jens, and then they kept referring to Sidwell. So I was like, is Jens the security guard and Sidwell is the mean dude, or is that Jens and we just haven't seen Sidwell yet? Because I don't feel like they actually said this is Sidwell. Like he didn't come in, and it was kind of like the same thing with Isaiah. You know, it's like we got one real quick. His name is Isaiah. But anyway, so Sidwell's full name is Jens Sidwell because it was mentioned later in the week. So yay, we know that now. But Lucky just keeps winning at the cards, and Sidwell leaves. Holly comes in, and Lucky's like, seriously, can you get me out of here? This guy, and for Lucky to be saying, this guy is bad news, dangerous. Like, I'm scared of him. Has to be huge. Holly's like so dismissive. And she's like, yeah, I don't think you understand. I could be on for the biggest score of my life. And then I forget what it was that he said, because he was saying something about, oh, he's looking at this and diamonds. And she's like, diamonds? And she's like, I'll cut you in. It's okay. It'll be the biggest score of my career. He's like, how about you cut me in on staying alive? She's like, you're Luke's son. You'll be fine.
Right. And he's like, no, I'm actually scared because I'm here completely by myself and I'm outnumbered. Could you help me, please?
Like, my dad died in a cable car accident when he was not even doing anything.
Yeah. Help.
He wasn't in the middle of anything. Yeah. And she's just like so dismissive towards him. And then he's like, we'll make it look like, you know, I overtook you or whatever. And did she say something about the fact that he would definitely kill him if it looked like he hurt her?
I think she like implied that, but I don't think she actually said that.
Okay.
She just kept focusing on this is the biggest score of her life. So no, like they can't go anywhere until she makes this score.
Right. And then she left, and then Sidwell comes back and they keep playing cards. And he thought for sure that, you know, I mean, Lucky is still playing for it to be on his life. And then the guard comes in and says that he has like an update, and they just got information that the well is, or the mine is drying up, and it's supposed to be producing so many pounds a week, and it's only producing like 1% of what it's supposed to be producing, I think.
Right.
And out of nowhere, Sidwell just takes out his gun and shoots him
in the back. That was like not nice.
I feel like that was one of the more graphic murder scenes that we've seen on the show, because you see the blood splatter on the back of the wall.
Yeah. And he didn't even give him a chance to, defend himself or even question him. Like, he just knew he was stealing and killed him. What if he would have been wrong?
Is, how did he not? He didn't get any blood splatter on him, but it wound up on the wall behind him. Like, that was on the wall, right?
Yeah. I don't know.
He didn't duck. He wasn't wearing a raincoat. He's not Patrick Bateman.
I don't know.
And then he tells Lucky to search him. And so Lucky searches him and he finds gold.
Mm-hmm.
And, Sidwell was kind of like, why did I have you do that? Or why did I kill him? Or something like that. And Lucky's like, well, it wouldn't have made sense. What did he say about, he said that greed has no limits. And so that's why the guy was stealing from him. But how did he say that Sidwell knew that he was stealing from him?
Did he explain that? I thought it was just a hunch that he had.
I don't think he would have killed him on a hunch. Hold on.
I do. That's what I'm saying. I think he was lucky that he was right. Not that he would have cared. Obviously, he doesn't care about his people, but
yeah. Oh, and before that, Lucky had actually slid a card up his sleeve.
Yes.
Oh, he said that the guy was actually right about the mines drying up, because he wouldn't be stealing. It's like the scarcity mindset. The guy wouldn't have been stealing if
there was a ton more.
Yeah. And so Sidwell's impressed with his thought process and doesn't kill him, but then they go back to the cards and somehow Lucky wins again. But then he leaves and we see Lucky had swiped. What was he thinking?
Right?
You just saw the man shoot
over a piece of gold. He already wants to kill you, and you're just giving him more excuses to why he should do that.
Right. Ay, ay, ay. And then the other guard came in, and Lucky's saying about how don't ever give him bad news. And then that's when he pulled up the gold. So what did he do with the other card?
Put it up his sleeve.
It's those inner pockets again with those guys.
Yeah. Because when Sidwell got up to walk out of the room, he grabbed Lucky's right sleeve and peeked up it, but Lucky slid the card in his left sleeve.
He lucked out on that one.
Yeah.
And then I think that was really all that we saw of Lucky.
Mm-hmm. It was everybody else talking about finding him and how to get to him.
Yeah. Because then it was that guard was at the hospital and he was about to inject Isaiah with something. And that's when Jordan came in and she stopped him.
Yep. She was so quick. Like, because he threw her down and she was like, nope, we're going to find him. They had everything on lockdown.
Yep. And she ran out there. Liz, call the police. That guy was blah, blah, blah. And then she ran in that stairwell and man, it's not disarming. Well, I guess kind of it is. I mean, it's just.
It was disarming because she got the medicine. He was going to inject her and she slammed his hand to get him to knock it. And then she kicked it out of the way.
Yep. And that is the Jordan that we originally met.
Mm-hmm. I love that Isaiah assumed that she was a man.
And I love that he apologized and owned up to it without her knowing that that's what he assumed.
Mm-hmm. And then he just kept saying, you don't look like law enforcement. And she was like, I kind of think you mean that as a compliment, but it's not really a compliment the way you keep saying it.
Yep. Oh, well, that was the other thing. Hold it. So before that even happened he was still unconscious. Mm-hmm. And then Liz came in and was doing whatever nurses do. And he shot up and grabbed her arm and was like, Lucky.
Yes.
And then she said, don't worry, you're in Port Charles, whatever. And he said, okay, I'm in Port Charles. My friend Lucky told me to come here. Do you know Lucky Spencer? Which I just think is so funny because, people do that all the time with, oh, you're from Pittsburgh? Do you know one of the 3 million people that live in your city?
Yes, I know all of them.
So it's not 3 million, just so everyone knows. We don't have 3 million people in Pittsburgh, but it's just the It's like when you say that you go to, although to be fair, I did have it one time where I was in an elevator in Dallas, mentioned that I was from Pittsburgh. They asked where, and I said, well, it's Plum, but it's near Monroeville, which is like kind of right outside of Pittsburgh. And they're like, I actually know where that is. Do you happen to know blah, blah, blah? And it's a good friend of ours.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
He's from Hawaii.
Oh, geez.
So that's just crazy. So can it happen? Absolutely.
That's right.
Does it
definitely?
Frequently? No.
No, but it definitely happened in this case. Because she's like, I know Lucky very well. My last name happened to have been Spencer for a while.
And he said something about how Lucky, he knows that Lucky can exaggerate, but in this case, it was not enough.
Yes.
That was sweet.
Mm-hmm.
He's flirty.
He definitely is.
But then, so like once he woke up and everything, she's like, so how do you know Lucky?
Right. Help us get the coordinates.
And then she called Carly.
Carly is over the top. I know they need to give Carly something to do.
No, they don't. They can actually have a storyline without Carly in it. I understand that this is her family. I do understand that this is her family.
I understand this is her family, and I am glad that she's taking an interest, but this is like over the top. This is like when they had Sam and Maxie have lunch because they were best friends, and it was like, when were you guys best friends? We all missed this. So she liked Lulu, like she was nice to her, but there was an age difference there. Their kids were not the same ages. Like, no. Unless
you and I both were not watching at the same time that Carly and Lulu were tight.
Right.
As she said. And I'm sorry. Okay. We're probably going to get hate mail for this one, but I'm going to say it. This is jumping forward to the end of the week. And it was just one sentence where when she was talking about how when Jason said that Bobbie was the ultimate matriarch, and she said, what about Lila? He's like, okay, so Lila and Bobbie. And she said, yeah, I just feel like I need to step it up, and he's like, yeah, it's going to be you. I don't feel that way about her.
No, but maybe that is where her desire to help Lulu more is coming from. Like, she owes it to Bobbie to help, because Bobbie would have gone out of her way to make sure that they found Lucky for Lulu.
But you know who is like massive matriarch energy? Laura, the woman who's searching for her daughter or for her son to help her daughter.
Yeah.
Except for Laura doesn't really have, she's not a Spencer anymore. So she doesn't really have rank on that. And she's kind of a Weber, but not.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Olivia is the next great matriarch of the show.
Right? Tracy doesn't want to hear that, though. Don't say that to her.
Because, but not for nothing, Monica had matriarchal qualities, but we've never seen her take that role. Olivia does.
Yes.
Okay. Do I know by definition that Carly technically is? Sure.
Right. But she just doesn't have those same qualities.
She's not as selfless. And that was okay. So obviously we have also gone through the stuff with Bobbie, but also, okay, maybe, we'll get to it later with Bobbie, but I don't feel like that was her title really either.
No. Not
at least what I'm remembering so far. She definitely, we just got through the whole thing with Stefan and how that's the thing. Like, Lila never turned on her family.
Right.
Bobbie said that she was no longer a Spencer when she married Stefan.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm off on a tangent now. I'm sorry.
That's okay, but you're right. Lila stayed through everything. Even the crap that Edward pulled, she was still like, nope, this is family. We put that first. We'll figure it out.
And she didn't tolerate his crap. She was not going to stay with him just because of it, but she was still going to,
She wasn't going to disown other family members. Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Where did that come from? Oh, Liz called Carly.
Yeah.
Because then Carly rushed to Isaiah and was like, you have to tell us what we know. We need Lucky.
Right. This is a matter of life and death for my cousin. Okay.
You say so, lady. Oh,
right. Exactly.
And that was the other thing. She brought Lulu flowers and I did think that was sweet, though, because she wants her to see something pretty if she opens her eyes any day. I just wish that this was something we saw her throwing away the old flowers and replacing them. So like this was to be an ongoing thing, because it's very presumptive that now I'm anticipating any day now you're going to wake up.
You have 5 days before these flowers die. You need to wake up.
Right. But Laura, she already knows that Lulu is going to have quite the gossip when she wakes up, which we can get to that later. But it is one of those things. Her, don't worry, Laura's looking for Lucky. You think Laura didn't go tell her that before she left?
Right.
All right. I feel like I'm complaining. Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. I felt like this week moved very slow. Like we just kind of rehashed the same stuff over and over again. It was all about finding Lucky for Lulu. So we just kept focusing on those people. And then, oh no, the gun and Alexis. I felt like every day was just like Groundhog's Day, but with different people, but the same conversations.
Well, that's kind of what happened on Groundhog's Day.
Yeah.
Before he got it right.
So, well, that's where I felt like we were this week. Every time Alexis was on screen, she was talking to somebody about how she can't tell what she did with the gun or why she had the gun or where she got the gun, or people are assuming where she got the gun or why she had the gun. And she's just sitting there like in La La Land of Diane's going to get me off. It's fine. It's fine. And then even Diane is like, nope, I'm representing Sunny because I can't represent both of you. And you don't have a very good defense because why did you have this gun?
I did like Diane going to Sunny and saying, so problem here.
Mm-hmm.
And you better figure it out.
Yep. I was glad that Molly finally talked to Alexis and Alexis got to say, your father's the one that turned me in. Okay.
I know. But I also like that Molly went to him and was like, hey, what the heck were you thinking?
Yeah. And he used the same excuse he uses for everything. Well, I'm an officer of the court, so I had to. Well, that's funny because
if she called him out on that.
Yeah. Yeah. If you had seen somebody that you didn't want to get in trouble do the same thing, you suddenly would have forgot you were an officer of the court.
Right. But I did like, okay, but you had to have liked when Rick was like, okay, well, here's the deal. Alexa or Ava changed her statement and said Kate's was, which I mean, that's a huge thing because Ava was basically going back to where she could be charged.
Right.
By saying, I did not want to say that Kristina was the aggressor. Kate's was making me.
Yes.
And then he says, so how do you feel about that? And she just continues to say that she needs somebody to pay, blah, blah, blah. Because this is right after Nina had sat down with him. And he said exactly what we pretty much all said last week was he's the baby's grandfather. You know, he's not going to defend somebody who may have been responsible for her death.
Right. I don't like that Molly keeps calling her baby instead of her daughter. It just annoys me. Every time she talks about her, she's like, and then they killed my baby. They killed my baby. By now, you know, it's a girl. You've given her a name. I would say my daughter.
Maybe she's still kind of feeling the disconnect because she never got to be her mother in the same way that Kristina was able to carry her. Maybe she's not feeling maybe she's feeling like she never actually was. I do consider that Molly is a mother.
Yes.
You and I consider Molly lost her daughter, but maybe that's just something that Molly hasn't really come to deal with yet and that's why Rick said that he is actually going to help Ava because he needs to help Molly get to the healing process. And if he can basically get it proved in a court of law that Ava had nothing to do with it, that's going to help her at least get some kind of answer. But maybe that's something that she really just hasn't come to terms with is that she is a mother, but she never got to be because she never got to adopt the daughter. So, and she's a very logical person.
That is true.
Maybe subconsciously she's not even realizing that she's saying that because I off the top of my head, I can't think of a time that I did hear her say, daughter. I did like that she kind of said to Kristina, you know, you've never once thought about how's TJ feeling.
Yeah.
And she's not wrong.
Nope. She just kind of, Kristina in her head just kind of cut TJ out of it. Like it was her baby and Molly's baby, not TJ's.
Because she was, but that was part of the argument. Okay, so I guess we can just go there real quick because they fought it out at Alexis's because Alexis was trying to get them to talk. And Kristina reiterated again and again and again, I was trying to protect the baby for you, because you and TJ were fighting. And she's like, we were only fighting about you. She's like, sure.
Right.
But, that's something that they're never going to see eye to eye on.
That's what I'm afraid with Rick defending Ava. Yeah, he might be able to get her to see that Ava didn't,
intentionally cause this. But I don't know that he's going to get her to then see that it was an accident on Kristina's side too. Because it really was just an accident. Like we said in the beginning, it sucks, but it was an accident.
Well, and that's what he even said to her. He's like, okay, having heard this from, Kristina or from Ava, that she's not even pursuing this anymore.
Right.
Have you changed your opinion?
Somebody has to be responsible.
Mm-hmm.
So I can see him getting Ava off so that she's not responsible, but then that leaves Kristina.
Right. And I think that I think he's doing the right thing for the right reason. I really, really do. I think that he thinks that he is doing the right thing, but he's missing where Molly needs someone to blame. She doesn't need to know that the court of law finds it to be an accident. She needs somebody to be held accountable. And that's where she is. Trying to think of where else to go from there.
Yeah, everything was so like its own. It went with that particular storyline and then moved forward.
Well, earlier in the week, we finally saw the Aurora Wellness Center opened.
Oh, yes.
TJ and Rick were there, and Rick was checking up on him, and he thanked him for, being there for Molly. And, it's comforting to him that, no, he said it's part of the audit. Wait, that was another thing. He asked TJ how he was doing, and TJ was like, we're a mess, but thanks. And about how, what was it?
About how Molly is still like putting up a wall between the two of them. They're not grieving together. They're grieving separately.
And he said, and Rick said she needs your support because her own other half of the family is not going to.
Mm-hmm.
And then Curtis comes in and they wind up talking. And that's when Curtis said something about how, well, if you really feel that way, how can you even think about defending the person who killed your granddaughter?
Right.
How did Curtis know about that? Isn't that what he said? Wasn't that what he said to Rick?
Maybe Rick brought it up to Did he bring it up to TJ?
I thought he brought it up to Curtis because Rick said that, oh, no. He was talking about Heather. He was talking about Heather.
Yes. Thank you. I got there the exact same second you did. Yes. He was saying, how are you going to hurt your daughter's other side of the family through marriage or partnership, whatever, by going ahead and getting Heather out of jail. And then Rick
with
clarified.
With Trina. Yeah.
Right. Rick clarified, though, I'm not fighting to get Heather out of jail. I am fighting to get Heather to win the malpractice lawsuit. So she could be in jail sitting on millions of dollars, but that doesn't get her out of jail. Now, if after she gets the settlement, she pursues getting released and that happens, that is a separate case. I'm just going where the money is to get this malpractice money that any other attorney is going to take and win also, because it's been all over the papers. There's multiple other cases of this.
Well, and he said something about that if they do win, that's going to give course of action for the other families to possibly sue and, be able to get some kind of settlement or something like that way.
Mm-hmm.
Which I hadn't even thought about. I hadn't thought about the fact that like the other families are also going to be able to possibly benefit from.
They said it had been like all over the news that there was other people affected by this. It was not just Heather.
Yep. So, the victims of her illness that was caused by the manufacturer.
Right.
It's kind of a win-win. Not a, you know what I mean? I don't.
Well, it's a win. It's a win for all the people that were affected by that, keeping it separate the way that Rick explained it in his mind. So, yeah. I mean, I'm sure that Heather, if she gets a bunch of money, is then going to hire, whether it's Rick or someone else, a good attorney to try to get her out. But he was focusing on the malpractice side of it.
Well, because he even said, Curtis said, that when it was Scotty, he at least knew that Scott was only after his own pocketbook, that he only cared about what he was going to get out of it and nothing else.
Mm-hmm.
But now he's actually worried about Rick because he's looking at it from a different way, I guess. I don't know. And then, earlier before that, Portia had been hitting refresh like crazy to get Heather's test results, which is she allowed to be doing that?
I mean, I think
feel like that's one of those things.
I think because she works at the hospital that she is allowed to look at it without it being like against the law. But like ethically, no, if she's not the doctor on the case, then she shouldn't be reviewing those results.
Right.
So,
but Curtis even said to her, Heather's also a victim and Portia kind of lost it.
Yeah.
Not as bad.
The thing is that Trina has said the same thing over and over again. Portia, like as a parent, yes, you have your own feelings. If somebody tries to hurt your kid, obviously try to kill your kid, you're going to be holding a huge grudge against them forever. But if the medical science is there saying it was caused by that, and Trina herself says, listen, I talked to Heather and I'm not afraid. I'm not going to sit down and have coffee with her next week, but I am not mad if she goes through the rehabilitation that she needed and it was a medical issue and now that is solved. She has a right to be free just like anyone else.
Right.
And at one point in time, you have to, it's like deciding, are you going to be miserable about something for the rest of your life, or are you going to figure out a way to let it go? You can be unhappy and not like her, but you're wasting time and straining relationships that are important to you over the what if of Heather Weber. It's
and something that she literally cannot change. And it is something.
Right. Like, I'm sure that she'll be asked to give a testimony at the trial and whatever. She can only do what she can do.
Right. And the worst part is that she'll have to give a testimony as a doctor.
Right.
So she can't. Right. She can say.
No, but she was one of the doctors that said this is cobalt poisoning and it needs to be taken care of. Like,
right. Who was the doctor that she wasn't the doctor that helped Franco with his tumor?
No.
Who was that doctor? That would have been a long time before.
Yeah, wasn't that back whenever like Patrick was still around?
Might have been. I forget. But it definitely, because we only got Portia fairly recently.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
And then it flipped back to looking for Lucky, and it showed Carly talking to Brennan, and Brennan's like, I don't have any new updates yet, but here, let's have a drink together while we wait. And she tells him that she was hooking up with Sonny whenever Kate's was killed. And he's like, okay. Like, I was surprised that he was not more jealous or upset. He was like, sometimes you have a connection to old flames. It happens. Are you guys getting back together? And she was like, nope. And he was like, all right. So that was shocking. And then you saw Jason ask her, where's she getting all these updates from? And she's like, oh, yeah, I've been hanging out with Brennan. And he's like, don't. Okay. It's not a good idea. Do not hang out with him.
Well, no. Again, he reiterated, this is not new information, Carly. This is not the first time that Jason has told you this. This is not even probably the 20th time that Jason has told you this.
Right.
Ay. But then Anna comes in and is basically saying the same thing, like she needs information. And Brennan actually gave her more of a difficult time than he gave Carly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, Carly's like, I'll pay for the resources. And like, I know Carly has money, but I don't think she has that kind of money. And she's
she
like,
didn't have $5 million to get herself out of whatever.
Right. Then how do you have that kind of money? But anyway, she's like, I'll pay whatever fees, blah, blah, blah. And then she also talked about how she wasn't charged because mysteriously the information disappeared. And Brennan still just sits there and doesn't say, yeah, that's because I made it disappear.
Well, he kind of smirked and looked at her and took a drink. And I was expecting the next pickup to be...
She did not get it.
What was that look?
Yeah, she did not get it. Mm-mm.
But so it turns out that they found the compound and I don't know, something. I felt like they were running around in circles with this, with We can't find the compound. We found the compound. We have satellite images. Oh, they left. Well, we can't have boots on the ground, but oh, hey, here we are. And now it's empty.
I didn't understand. I'm assuming that someone is in communication with Laura and Kevin, who left like a week ago, it feels like, because they left Ace at Tracy's, and we've heard Tracy talking about dealing with Ace, saw them dealing with Ace last week. So how is it making any difference now that we're sending Jason and Anna? Like, if Laura and them didn't get there in time before they moved camp, then dropping Jason and Anna off at about the same location is not going to get them there either.
Well, because they're going to Nairobi, so it's not like they're going to a different place. Because he said something about how we got new coordinates and something.
Right. They're all going to be in the same area.
Oh, by the way, real quick nerd out.
Uh-huh.
Yep. Well, they made the mistake of saying something, and I needed to know if it was true or not. When Anna gets on the plane, they say that the flight to Nairobi is 18 hours and 52 minutes, but the shortest flight from Buffalo to Nairobi is 20 hours and 12 minutes, and that has 2 stops. Most of the other flights have 2 stops. Only one had 1 stop, and I think it was like barely under, like minimal difference in time. So it's not like it was a significant difference. Rochester to Nairobi is 20 hours and 39 minutes. However, JFK has a nonstop flight, and it's 14 hours, and there are 2 other flights that have under 19 hours.
Oh, okay.
So they were flying out of JFK. They were flying out of JFK in order for that to be true.
Alrighty.
Sorry, continue with the...
No, I just thought it would have made more sense to me if they had a different location. If they said, oh, you know what, we were wrong. They were never in Nairobi. Now we have to go over here. And so it's going to take time for Kevin and Laura to fly or travel, however, over to there. And so, yeah, they have to, they're going to get there first or whatever. But you would be sharing the coordinates with Laura and them. So they would have been hot on that trail. I just don't see why we need 2 more people there. And I know that Isaiah doesn't know Jason's background to know that he's not just a coffee seller. But even he was like, you don't understand how dangerous it is. Like, that's the problem. Lucky went in there as one person and he got caught. You can't go in there as one person and think you're going to make a difference. And I'm sorry, but I don't see just adding Anna to make that huge difference either. Like, it seemed like it was a pretty complex operation they had going on there.
Well, just for the sake of redundancy, we once again hear Carly saying if anything happens to him that she'll never be able to forgive herself.
But you're the one sending him in there.
And it happens all the time.
Right. It's ridiculous.
But, I mean, Anna is bringing a machete.
She is. I like that Felicia's like, here's the malaria pills I didn't get to use, but I can go with you because I also know how to use machete.
Right. I mean, do you know how to use machete? I don't.
I do not. We should take a class.
That way we can be prepared for our on-screen debuts.
Yes. Anyway, so yeah, that it just kind of like that the whole week for all those people to talk about it, just for it to end up being, we still don't know. We still have not found him. We still don't know. But the cute conversation that you were referencing earlier was Liz talking to Willow before Willow went and was stupid, saying about how she's concerned for Aiden because he's like waiting for his dad to come home and thinking that they're going to rebuild this relationship, and is Lucky going to leave and whatever. And then we just saw Lucky last week referring to Elizabeth as like the one that got away. And so it's making all of us old timers squishy, hoping they get back together.
Well, because she's like, I think that part of it is because of me. That's why he's stayed gone. And she made a really good point. She's like, Aiden is watching his brother Jake rebuild this relationship with Jason. So of course he's going to.
Right.
And she's like, and I just don't know what to do about, not bursting his bubble, but also, it's, you don't want to burst their bubble, but you also don't want to see them get hurt. But then you don't want to be wrong if Lucky does get a chance to rebuild.
Right.
So
And then we saw Willow being stupid because she's
Liz's favorite nurse who worked there for 2 weeks is back.
Right. It wasn't even her favorite nurse. It was her best nurse. And it was like, really? How is she your best right out of school and only working there for like 2 months? But okay.
Poor Amy, Felix, and Deanna.
Right. And so she's like, I'm going to keep you on this floor so you can take care of Lulu. And so she goes right into Lulu and she starts talking to her at first like normal, like giving her hope, like, hey, I had this illness and my family had to search for somebody and, you know, they all came through for me. Everyone's going to come through for you. Just hang on, blah, blah, blah. And then she's like, Drew, and she like pulls her hand away from Lulu then for the dramatics and is like, oh, geez, what am I going to do about my feelings for him? I love my husband. I love my kids, blah, blah, blah. We all know that Lulu's going to wake up. She's either going to like have some affection towards Drew and then flash back to hearing Willow say this, or she's going to wake up and be like, oh, Drew, you're the guy that Willow has a crush on.
Right.
It's not good. And Willow doesn't know Lulu. Like, I understand.
I'm just going to ask you. I'm like, I am not remembering Willow and Lulu even. I mean, I know that they were on at the same time, but
for like 5 seconds, I feel like I don't think they had.
I don't think that they interacted.
Together.
No.
Okay.
You beat me to my question. I was going to ask you.
Yeah. Nope. They were not BFFs. If they wake them up and wake her up and have them having coffee together like Sam and Maxie, I'll be mad. But no, I understand the comfort of like talking to someone and not having to worry that they are going to respond back like, oh my gosh, you're a horrible person or whatever. But yeah, I wouldn't talk to anybody about my feelings like that when I didn't know them before they were in their coma.
And you would think also, you know, that this woman has kids. So
right.
Why aren't you, thinking about or saying anything about, I know when I was going through like, and still talking about yourself through this whole thing,
right.
You weren't sure, you had all these thoughts about my kids, like, and, I'm sure that, if you wake up, when you wake up, your kids are going to be so excited to see you because, I only dealt with it for 6 months, but mine were so excited to see me or something like that. It's
right. Yeah, she could have taken it in any direction. And then Liz walks in. So it's like did Liz hear? Did she not? She didn't say anything, blah, blah. Oh, I'm annoyed with it already.
I thought for sure she did.
I thought she did too, but I just hate what's going to be this back and forth now.
Yeah.
So I think the only part that I liked of this week was Sasha throwing the breakfast for Cody and Mac and all them.
Yeah, that was sweet.
It was very sweet. And then Tracy got all crappy with her. And I loved that she was like, it's my day off and I paid for all this food. So why are you complaining?
I did like that Felicia kind of stuck up for Tracy to Mac.
It was funny that Mac was like, you're not saying Tracy has romantic interest in him. And she was like, no.
She just has somebody who has a shared interest with her and she doesn't have anyone. And I don't think Felicia mentioned that she also just recently lost Finn. She mentioned Gregory, but she didn't
mention Gregory. I don't think she did mention Finn.
Like Tracy lost her friend Finn, and Tracy's dealing with this stuff also with Lulu. Everyone keeps forgetting that Tracy and Lulu were actually close, not Lulu and Carly.
Right. Yeah, they hit on that for a minute last week when Brooklyn talked about it, and then now they've moved on. Like, oh, she'll be fine. Yeah.
I did think it was funny when Mac called Tracy Cruella Quartermain.
Yes. And he's like, I'll get Cody a different job. And Felicia's like, no, that's not what anyone needs.
James.
He was so cute. That was
and
so
Maxie,
cute.
Kirsten Storms. I don't know. I feel like obviously you can act as a parent without being a parent.
Right.
But there was just something in her facial expression. I mean, she kept her face looking down at the table.
And very very matter of fact. He's like, what do you call me, Mom? And she's like, hangry. I call you hangry.
Without even looking. And he's like, yeah, you're hangry. Here, have some of my quiche.
It was very cute.
But yeah, so before that though is James was asking Cody if he and Sasha have sleepovers.
Can I have a sleepover at your house like you and Sasha have? Whoa.
I like Maxie. She's like, didn't see that one coming. Okay.
Right. Kids say the darndest things.
Oh,
that's funny.
I did like Georgie calling him out on, I cannot believe that you said that to Tracy. And Felicia's like, and lived.
Right. That was very cute. And then before that, we saw, Cody did officially ask Sasha to be his girlfriend, and she said yes. But
I kind of did that to JD. We were out with a friend of mine, and I said something about, and he was sitting right next to me, and I said something about boyfriend. I looked at him and was like, "Are you my boyfriend?" He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Okay, cool," and then just kept talking.
That's
and
cute.
that was it. That's how we made it official. No cute quiche or anything. Just
no cute quiche or anything. I don't think Ryan and I even were boyfriend girlfriend. We were like hanging out and then engaged, but we had that 25-year long on and off courtship. So
I mean,
all of Deception had a meeting. Tracy's convinced that Sonny killed Kate, and that's going to look bad for Deception having him as a silent investor.
I mean, she's not wrong.
She's not, but she can't assume innocent till proven guilty. Come on.
Well, what did Lois say? She's just mad because they were doing the boom boom in her room.
Yes, that was funny.
Oh, I did love everybody coming to Lois's defense of, what the heck is this? Right. Why are you talking this way?
Are you sick? You're having a stroke. We need to call
Even Lucy was concerned.
Yeah.
With someone other than herself.
Right. It was too much. And they said, like, she's supposed to have learned how to use it interchangeably. So I don't know why, being in the meeting with all her friends that had never had an issue with the way she talked, she would choose to not speak normal at that point.
Probably because the focus was on deception. So if she's using that only for deception things, but then switching out to it, but then because we saw her flip out of it when Tracy started to have some negative comments about Brooklyn becoming a mom.
Right. Which is ridiculous. Like, Tracy had to have been a young-ish mom when she had Ned, considering Ned and Monica hooked up. Not that was age appropriate, but it wasn't illegal. So she had to have been a young mom, and she still carried on with her Quartermain duties. So why, considering they have 2 nannies and all those grandmas, why could Brooklyn not have a baby now and still continue on with her career?
I think Lois hit the nail on the head. It was the same thing that Felicia was telling Mac. Tracy doesn't want to lose Brooklyn.
Yeah, but like Lois said, I was concerned you weren't going to be a good grandma to Brooklyn because she came from me, and you are. So I know you'd be an amazing grandma, great grandma to Brooklyn's baby.
It's probably just like everybody else has all these great changes going on, and maybe Tracy's just wondering, is she done having great changes that are her life, Another
thing, like, if her complaint would have been, you guys just got married, like, you haven't even been married 6 months yet, why don't you enjoy the newlywed phase, just the 2 of you, for a while before you have to worry about the complications of kids and stuff? Because they did mention that Finn should be back in about a month.
I know.
If that would go as planned, they would be like kid free again in a month. So don't rush into the restrictions that pregnancy and having a child give you. That would have made sense. But instead she was like, you guys can wait like 10 years. Like, what?
Right. No, they can't.
Right. I know that Brooklyn is not supposed to be old, but she is not that young that they can wait 10 years to try.
Right. She even said that.
Yeah. So I'm glad that Lois was there to defend. They can do whatever they want. And at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter what Lois said either. And I loved how excited Chase was when he walked in and was like, are you pregnant? And she was like, no, but I thought maybe I'd like to be. And he said, I was just waiting for you.
I know.
Their baby's going to be so cute.
It is.
Oh, I'm excited for them.
I do think it's interesting. I mean, I do think that she has the right mindset where right now we are caring for Violet and we don't know what's really happening here. So maybe we should, like, if it happened, great. But if it doesn't, like, let's not put all of our focus on that. But right. Then when you said, like, Finn's coming back, all this. So I feel
like the conversation, and I don't know, maybe I'm weird, but especially when I was younger and it didn't occur to me that getting pregnant would be an issue. I was like, okay, we're going to make the conscious decision to whatever happens, happens. Like, we're not going to prevent in any way. And if it happens, then we'll be excited. And if it doesn't happen, then it's just not the right time yet. It was kind of, I don't know. Again, maybe I'm just.
That's what I think they're at. No, but that's what I think they're at. They're like, we're not going to try every single day, maybe, but.
See, I felt like their conversation was more like, we're going to try to get pregnant now. Like, I don't know. I hope they play it as like what I said of whatever happens, happens, because I don't want to see them focusing on Brooklyn, like being stressed out, like, oh, we've tried for 2 months and now I'm not pregnant already.
Exactly.
Because
that's what I was kind of, that's what
like
I was getting at. Yeah.
A normal, with every reason to believe that you are both healthy and normal in that department, a young couple should try for a year before they get concerned. So I just don't want to see her freaking out 2 months in.
I don't know.
So, but I'm excited.
But I guess Violet's a little gossiper though. She's talking about sleepovers and people having babies and.
Yeah, I didn't like that Tracy jumped to that either. She's like, we need to nip it in the bud that Violet is lying. She wasn't lying. Maybe she misworded something, but she was not lying when she said they were going to have a baby. Like, Tracy's just a little too grumpy this week. But
yeah,
other than the end Friday cliffhanger where Chase shows up at Alexis's house and Sunny's like,
Mac.
Oh, how did you know I was here?
Mac.
Oh, Mac. I'm sorry. Yep. Yes. Mac. Mac said he wanted to handle it. Chase had heard about it somewhere in there. But Mac was like, I'm here to make an arrest.
Called Kristina at Michael's when she was with Michael and said that she had to come down and it wasn't a request.
Right. And Michael was like, she's not going to listen to any more. If you want to formally question her, then fine, but she's not going to listen to any more of this.
Oh, yeah, they did go down, and they were down for like 2 seconds.
Yeah. And then they left, and she was like, I don't know what to say. And Michael was like, don't say anything. Just be quiet. It'll get figured out.
Wait until Kristina figures out that Michael's doing all this to make his dad look innocent.
Right.
And not to help her mom. I mean, he was kind of right on a lot of the stuff because he's like, which one can they prove?
Right. Well, I don't even know how they're arresting Alexis for real either. Like, they haven't found the gun. Like, the gun that was used, that's what we saw. That was this week, right? The gun that was used, we saw Jason melt down at the warehouse. Oh, yeah. So whenever
that was like the dip in Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
You're such a dork.
We just need his eyes bulging out.
Yes, we should have seen all that.
You know that his character did not blink through the entire movie. Judge Doom did not blink once in the entire movie.
Wow, I did not know that.
It was something that they made was like a character choice or something to make him more like intense because that way he was like kind of always. I mean, and that's kind of Jason. Do we ever see Jason blink? I don't know. I've never paid attention.
I mean, not whenever they're like zooming up on him, but he blinks in everyday conversations. I feel like that's funny. It must be like a sign.
Yes,
it must be. Yes, it must be a sign for me to watch Who Framed Roger Rabbit. That was one of my dad's favorite movies. And Ryan said something this morning, and I was like, "Would you stop? Like, why are we referencing Who Framed Roger Rabbit?" Threw the gun in, did not turn to rubber, but he got rid of the gun, and they haven't swept the river yet. Like, they were talking about looking for it, but they did not say that they found the gun yet. And if they did find the gun, it wouldn't match how he was, like, the bullets that were used to kill him. So how are we arresting Alexis?
I don't know.
Understand.
Well, and then we saw Molly went and gave the testimony or the statement that Kristina had no alibi and has motive. Right.
That was good whenever Michael was like, well, who else could have seen you? Who else would have known? And she was like, we only talked about it in my house. And then it clicked like, oh, yeah.
Well, because it was, I left for a half hour and, they called you. And he's like, oh, yeah, they called me and Dad. And she's like, and Molly.
Yep. Devastating. But so it ends up that Mac gets to Alexis's and is like, I'm here to make an arrest. And Sonny's like, how'd you even know I was here? And he was like, no, not you. And then they're like, well, Kristina's not here. And he's like, no, not Kristina. Alexis, you have the right to remain silent, blah, 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 and handcuffs her. And then Sonny gives her this look like, oh crap, how am I going to get you out of this or whatever.
I really think he did not think it was going to happen.
Oh, I'm sure he didn't.
Because Diane said, if she gets arrested, you're going to have to figure this out. And he tells Alexis, if you get arrested, it'll be fine. We'll just figure it out. I really don't think that he thought, because she even said to him without saying too much,
right,
if you're innocent, then why do you need Diane?
Right. She was like, why can't Diane represent me then? But yeah, I'm sure he was thinking exactly what I just said. If they don't find the gun that Alexis tossed, then how are you going to prosecute her on killing someone with no ballistics that match and no witnesses? It just feels too soon. I'm not saying they couldn't get there. I mean, I'm sure that Sonny at some point has tossed a gun in that river that he has used for something. They could say, oh, that was Alexis for that. But right now, no, they're not going to find the gun that was used, period.
Well, it was done the day after the storm. I mean, around here, our rivers and creeks are still flowing like crazy a day or two after storms. That gun is probably not still in that, unless they washed up on a riverbed, like how many miles away.
Right. I just don't see how they're making the arrest. And even, they did. So, okay, we're going to go to court. I feel like Diane at that point would have the easiest defense of being like, you have no evidence. It's all circumstantial and hearsay. Like, technically, Alexis didn't even admit to the public that she threw a gun. She said she threw something. So how are you going to prove it was a gun, a 9mm gun, and then it was the one that was used? You can't.
Right. Well, Liz has even said, I thought she threw, at first I thought it was a gun, but then thinking back, it might not have been.
Right. Well, we can't be 100% sure.
The only one who is definitely saying it is Rick.
Exactly. But that's just because he's a jerk. So I think that was it, though.
I really do, too, because I feel like everything else just kind of, it went round and round. Oh, Ava and Trina.
Oh, yeah, that was sweet.
And how she's really sad if she's had to hurt any of her relationships because of her friendship with her. And she's like, no, it's Joss and I just don't agree. Oh, that was the other thing. Joss going to Michael. And he was like, you need to quit running around with your conspiracies against my dad because you're just going to get them both in trouble. But he positioned it as they're going to hurt Kristina.
Yeah, I like that she is old enough, though, now that they're not letting her play stupid. Like, she's like, no, this doesn't make any sense. They just happen to be hooking up at the exact same time that Kate is killed. Like, that's a little too convenient. And I don't want mom taking the fall for your dad.
Right. But I do think that was pretty much everything.
Reality check.
Did you melt down any guns this week?
I did not.
When I saw him doing that, I was like, I want a vat of acid to do bad things with. That's cool.
Madeline, run.
She's already out of the car.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's obviously at a warehouse somewhere. So, no, I didn't really do anything this week. Well, that's a lie. I just worked a lot. And then I had my birthday. Yeah,
what'd you do fun for your birthday?
JD was at the men's retreat for church, and my daughter had her social group. So, Erica and I met up with some friends at Anthony's. And then yesterday we went to dinner at Benihana.
Oh, nice.
So, wasn't bad. I mean, I know it's like one of the original concepts of hibachi in America, but I don't feel like it was really any different than the other ones that we have around here. So I'll probably just stick with those, but it was nice to go.
Yeah.
And then we had a little cake, and Erica made me this beautiful picture that says, hold on.
That was beautiful. I saw you posted it on Facebook. That was gorgeous. Her talent is unbelievable.
I know. She really is. JD bought me.
That your son's not really hers because he has that same amazing talent.
Oh, that was fun. We got to give our genealogy to somebody on Friday, and then there was a couple sitting kind of next to us at the bar that they were obviously, there was no way to not listen in. I mean, we were like right there. We were the last three on this side of the corner, and they were the first two on the corner. So it's like we were all, that's typically when there's a large group of us, we sit like 3 and 4 around the corner so that we were all together.
Right.
So It says, whisper I love you to a butterfly and it will fly up to heaven to deliver your message. And she put my grandparents' initials in the wings.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
And they smartly had that be last because Trista got me a wine glass that says happiness grows here.
Aww.
And then JD bought me a book that he read the back of. And he's like, I don't know. He's like, I read all the different covers and I thought that this one sounded great. I was like, based on the book cover, I said, I feel like this is a book that I would get for myself. So, and I had to remind him, I was like, there's still sometimes authors that I love that you never finish the book that they wrote. So
right.
I'm like, so far you've done really well with picking out books for me. So I like it.
Good.
So we'll see. But yeah, nothing really. I had one closing last week and I have 3 this week. So after this, I'll be able to breathe a little bit.
Well, it's awesome that you're busy, but it also sucks that you're busy. So
it all happens at the same time. And it's just, I think that it's interesting how it all happens at the same time, because the benefit is too, if they all kind of like start around the same time, that means that they all kind of hit the same little lull at the same time. And then they all kind of close around the same time. And then it's like, okay, I'm bored. What am I doing now? I have 2 for next month already. So I have a few other things that I'm working on. But yeah, I just think it's interesting how, and the thing is, it's not like all these came out of nowhere. I mean, one of my closings this week is someone that I've been working with for over 2 years.
Right.
So it's things that have just all been in progress.
Yeah.
All happen now.
I got it.
How about you?
I was still feeling like I was dying all week. I finally tested negative Thursday.
Wow.
So it was like a whole week of me feeling like I was dying. And I still don't feel 100%. Like I'm negative, so I'm okay. But I noticed that like doing half the stuff I have to do, I'm like, oh my God, I'm so tired. I need a nap. So, it's a process. COVID is so fun to have. Yeah. But then yesterday was Ryan's birthday. So we had a party at my mom's house and just kind of hung out with everyone. Matt and his girlfriend came, and Emily and Madeline were there, and my brother and my sister and my brother-in-law and my mom. And so it was nice. Like Ryan's family isn't big and they're just not as close as my family is. So he like really appreciates having that closeness. Like some people you give gifts to, and it's not that they don't appreciate it, but it's like, oh, thanks for the gift, and you kind of like move on or whatever. Where he like, I swear you could give him the smallest thing and he's like, oh my gosh, thank you so much, blah, 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 because they just don't do parties like that in his family. So my family really likes giving him presents because you can like see that appreciation. So so that was nice. And Emily finished her first week of beauty school. Awesome. And she is loving it so far. And they really learn a lot, like quickly. And I'm excited because she got her kit. So she has all this skincare stuff and all this makeup stuff and all this stuff to do your hair. And I'm like, oh, I can't wait till you learn all this. And she's talking about, towards the end, you have to do so many hours to graduate. And so she's like, I'll need you guys to come in and like, let me do facials and stuff. Well, I'm like, I will be there with all my friends. Like you can get your hours doing facials and nails and all that kind of stuff. We will volunteer.
Yeah, sign me up for a facial.
Yes. So, and she finishes the end of February. So it'll be right in that like coming out of the winter blah that we need facials and stuff. So
right in time for prom too.
Yes. So yes, you will be one of the people that I tell, go see Emily and let her get her hours on. So, but anyway, it's an adjustment trying to work and go to school full time and stuff. So she was feeling it by this weekend, mentally and physically exhausted, but, she has enjoyed it so far. So I'm excited for her.
Awesome.
Yep. But that's about all that's going on over here.
I kind of like going back to school. It gets a little bit boring.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's a lot because we're all on different schedules, but at least it's a schedule. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So,
Yep.
So that's that.
All right. So join us on Thursday as we continue talking about Lucky Spencer.
Have a good week.
And we'll be at the pier.
Bye.
Bye.
If you enjoyed today's show, we invite you to go to peer54podcast.com to subscribe on your favorite platform. Don't forget to leave us a review.
And you can also follow us on many social media channels. Just search for Peer 54 Podcast. Also, we are not perfect, so if there is something that we missed or messed up, just let us know by emailing us at peer54podcast@gmail.com.